up, everybody? We back with another episode of Straight No Chase, a Cowboys podcast with yours truly, D Brown, and my man JC. What's up, fellas?
My man, what's up, Cliff? Hollering at us from the west side. How you doing, bro?
Oh man, it's cool, man. It's literally cool out here. When we talking pre-show, it's kind of starting to get cold around these parts.
Yeah, man, it's just my favorite time of year from a fashion standpoint, man, because I am all things hoodie and all things sweats. So, I mean, I love my suits. Love pop them jeans every now and then, man. But I think they probably gonna throw dirt on my box with me, man. A fire ass hoodie and some sweats.
Ain't no wrong with a lazy man outfit.
And good, very well be a Cowboys head, but we'll determine that later on.
Yeah, absolutely. JC, how you feeling, man?
Man, I'm feeling good, man. It's really nice when you can get into your rig, right, and not get scalded and burned by the searing pea leather or whatever your interior is. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I had to wise up and get one of those visor shade things, man. It gets so hot, here in Texas, man. You get in the rig, right? And you damn near can't touch the steering wheel and shit. Put your elbow on the thing. It's like, you know what I'm saying? You gotta. So yeah, the weather is fantastic. Little known fun fact. In the Dallas area, October is, and I don't think it's a coincidence, October is the best month for sales and new business. Hey. And that's a recurring trend, and you can guess why. Temperature's good, and of course, our beloved Dallas football Cowboys.
There you go. Hey, for those who don't know, if you never lived in Dallas, man, ain't nothing in the world like the week leading up to a Cowboy game, especially if it's a home game, going to the tailgate, just the whole aura around the city it's all things. Let me put it this way. As a guy, I'm from Houston, live in LA, but my 4 years living in Dallas, man, like it's nothing like being a Cowboy fan living in Dallas. I gotta say. So
yeah, it is. I mean, there's balance in the force. When the food tastes better, the beer is colder.
Yeah,
the women get a little bit finer. I mean, everything. Everything is right when it's football season.
Yes, sir.
Dallas, Texas.
Let's go and hop it off, man. We know why we're here, man. The Dallas Cowboys right now. I want to say a underwhelming 2-2, but listen, man. As he said in the song, "Good time, we scratching and surviving." So,
no doubt.
Like we talked about, a series of 4 games. So we've completed our first series, coming out 2 games or 2. A lot to be desired. So before we talk about what took place a few days ago, let's go back and recap the Ravens game and just where you see the Cowboys at, and then we'll just kind of go where the conversation goes. So any commentary we have about our close but no cigar finish against the Ravens?
Man, so going into that, I was fearful of there he is. What's up, Will? Man, I was fearful going into that game of the Ravens' desperation and getting a win. If you think back, the Ravens were coming into that game 0-2. That's a Ravens team that has the reigning league MVP and a lot of talent, but the first 2 games had gotten away from them. And what they do and what Dallas does not do what particularly well through these 4 weeks, and certainly not coming off that Saints ass whooping coming into that game, would stop the run. Right. And so, all the things that you didn't want to see from Dallas, particularly from a slow start standpoint and, falling behind early and how it happened, all those things happened. It was literally like worst nightmare. So for me, you're looking at that game and you just made like, damn, here we go. Right. But that said, as bad as things were, and they were bad, let's be clear about that, particularly in the run defense. And, just right now, the kind of disjointed nature of the offense, right? That was the CD frustration game where, he's, him and Dak cussing each other out on the sideline, and just had a lot of, through 3 quarters, you had to list a lot of disjointed action, the penalties, they couldn't, really couldn't get a run game going. I didn't really fault them for that, because nobody really runs on the Ravens. They came in the game having only given up 100 yards in 2 games. I mean, you don't really get off in the run game against the Ravens. But, man, the one takeaway, as bad as that was through 3 quarters, the one thing that I did have some level of encouragement about going into the Giants game Thursday, which I know we'll talk about in a minute, was the fact that got on track and, literally hung a 3-touchdown quarter in the space of 12 minutes. And my takeaway from it, man, is this, and this to me is where the challenge is going to lie, as far as my specifically what the Baltimore game showed me, was Dallas's coach is going to be at a real premium this year, because the facts of this, regardless of how we feel about that running back room, right? And then we probably touch on that a bit as the show progresses. But you got 2 rooks in the offensive line. You got one in particular that's really, kind of struggling through these first 4 weeks in Tyler Guyton.
It was expected, though.
Yeah. Now, BB is actually faring a lot better, but, BB was a stud coming out of college. This guy's unanimous All-American. So you kind of saw his learning curve will be a little bit shorter than Guyton. They'll deal with that thing. Yeah, they're missing Deron Bland, no doubt. So you got some growing pains there with young Carson, who's injured. He got worked a little bit, and then this still yet conundrum. All of a sudden, man, Eric Kendricks went from Renaissance Eric Kendricks against Cleveland to AARP Eric Kendricks versus Baltimore Ravens. I mean, it's scaring me, fellas, in that he looks like almost like an LVE / dare I go back, a Brady James. If he gets to the play,
well, you named some names, boy. God damn, Brady.
But they're relevant names because I'm a tight end. Because if he gets to the play, he's 8 yards downfield, and even if he's there having to make the play, all of a sudden he can't tackle. Well, that's kind of alarming, because Alvin Kamara couldn't tackle him, Derrick Henry couldn't tackle him, even when he was there to make the play. So you got some things that was concerning, man. I mean, I was encouraged by the fact that they had to fight to make that, not necessarily making the game, but actually a chance to win the game. There's a value in that, because that game could have gotten just as ugly as the Saints game, and it didn't. The L's the L, that still sucks. But the fact that they had the moxie, particularly starting with QB1, to not only come back, but to make that a game where they had opportunity, albeit slight, to win the game. So I think it was a little something to, be positive about before we get to the Giants game. But the Baltimore Ravens takeaway was disappointing, but not to the level at the end of the Saints game.
There you go. You laid it out pretty succinctly. And JC, before you go, I'm gonna just say, I do know the tail of the film is where you can glean some positivity from. So I'm not one of them the skies fall and doom and gloom guys. But again, it seems to be a recurring thing that we play against formidable, like Super Bowl level talent. We always playing from behind. Like, we can never establish
that's true
an identity ever. We always coming back at the end. We always a Dak Prescott. He didn't kill the ball quick enough against 49ers a few years ago. It's always this come from behind scenario. It's just like good teams don't do that shit, man. Good teams don't do that shit. So I
real contenders, yeah.
Right, yeah. Contender level teams, yeah.
I'm like actual contenders, and that's a great point, because you're absolutely right. Every game that mattered, when you said talk about teams that were in the Super Bowl, San Francisco, obviously, Philly, Philly, they don't really ball Philly, but Baltimore in this case, Buffalo, same thing. I mean, you're right. The fall behind consistency against those level teams has been there the last 3 years. That's a fantastic point. That shit they've got to turn around.
That's what shit I care about. But JC, go ahead, man. You got it.
the rivalry or lack thereof between the Baltimore Ravens and Dallas Cowboys. It's been pretty one-sided with a common theme. Cowboys have only beaten them once, and the Ravens pretty much seem to run for 200 yards, whether it's Derrick Henry or Raymel Rice or whomever it may be. Think back to the history of this series. Like the many great moments. No, bullshit. No, there were no great moments. The only great moment I remember is when Philip Tanner trucked Ray Lewis's 36-year-old ass and said, "Take that with you, old man." And that's it. That's the only redeeming moment. These guys it's really literally a display of two philosophies in terms of organizations, right? And why the Ravens, okay, the Cowboys came back in that game. Yeah, big whoop. The Ravens never trailed, ever.
No, they didn't.
Right? They eased out a win. That was all they wanted to do. You just want to right ship at that point. They did what they needed to do. They were never sweating. And once again, I've said before, and I'm going to once again preface that, I don't want to minimize what Coach McCarthy did to arrive at his station as head coach of the Dallas Cowboys. But, and you saw this last night in the Georgia-Alabama game, always push the decision to go for two to the very end. Okay. And, so I look up and it's 28-12. And I know goddamn good and well Brandon Aubrey didn't miss no extra point.
Right.
So here we are going for it early. All right. Going for it. Then what do you end up doing? You chase it. So you go for it, you don't get it. Then you got to go for it again. You don't get it again. Then, now we go ahead and kick. And we'll cut the 3.
Right.
Okay. You want to push the decision to the very end. 28-13.
Good point.
28-20. 28-26. Now we go for 2. Kirby Smart did that shit last night. Okay. And there's a lot that goes into it, but he started doing it early. Okay. It's 33-21. Now he's got to go. No, he thinks he's got to go for 2. No, you don't have to go for 2.
Right.
Kick it. And then if you get the touchdown, right? Okay. At 22, now you're 22-33.
Yeah.
When you score that touchdown, then you go for 2. Now, this kind of presupposes that you get it, but the point is that you minimize the number of times that you have to go for 2, and you're not chasing. If they go for 2 and get it, 33-30, they score 37-33. Alabama comes down, they score on that one play to that freshman, which damn, Hobo was cold on that, man. Freshman number, man, that was real dope.
17-year-old freshman.
That was dope, man. I got to give that man. That kid was nice. Kept his feet and all that. Anyway, so they don't go for 2. Now it's 37-40, and you're down there in range, and you don't have to force that last one that got picked off.
Right.
Same shit, man. Now, I'm going to be honest, and as it relates to the Cowboys and the Ravens, they really didn't deserve to win. But as a coach, you want to at least give it a shot. Okay. And again, we're talking about a contrast in organizations and the way they do things that are ultimately diametrically opposed. Okay. And again, John Harbaugh was the special teams coach of the Philadelphia Eagles. And he talked a lot about how, and I've said this before on the show, about how the way they go about their business, okay, and the way Ozzie Newsome goes about his business and about the way the franchise goes about their business. Like, I couldn't even fucking tell you who owns the Ravens, right? Is it Tish or is that the Giants guy? I don't know, right? You know what I'm saying? And there's a reason why, okay? They make good, sound decisions. One free agent ad every year, and it's usually a quality one. You know, they got Harlan Williams several years back, and they gave him $70 million, but he was 25 at the time.
Yeah.
So he's 25 years old, right? So that's a good sign, right? You get Henry, a guy who's averaged 1,500 yards and 15 touchdowns over the last 5 years. That's production, man. That's production. And he still has some tread on the tire. Is he the 99-yard running away, mushing people, stiff armor people, Derrick Henry? No. But I think we all see he still has some tread on the tires, right? And plus it's a philosophical commitment that they are committed to the run game. You know, There was all kinds of wolfing when they hadn't gotten Lamar signed yet. And he took this off his Twitter account. He took this off his Instagram. You know, all this BS that people talk about, right? Then boom, 250, all good.
Yeah.
Right? Everything's all good. And so then they get that done early. You get behind him, right? There's no vacillating. There's a good word. No vacillating, no waiting. Right. And again, we talked about situation with Dak. If you got him done before Tua and Lawrence and Love, okay, not only would you have saved a little bit of dough, and honestly, man, as fans, we really don't give a rat's ass about how much money you spend on players, Gerald. We don't fucking care. We don't care. That's your money that you got from us, okay? We don't care about that. What we care about is we do, to a certain extent, us football nerds care about the cap, okay? I'm such a nerd, I could pretty much tell you what somebody's going to get when they're free. I pretty much nail it because I've been watching the game for so long. So it's part of the strategery, if you will, right? It's part of the strategery. You get that done early, get CD done early. We all know that they just move money around. Right. It's like Dak's cap hit next year is $93 million. You think he's got a trigger for a restructure? You're damn right he does. They've been doing that for a while with him, doing it with Zach Martin, on and on and on. You can go down and name anybody good.
The last 4 years.
You know, on and on and on and on. They did it with Tyron, although the Tyron deal was genius, right? He's 21 years old or 22 or something like that. Already 2 years in the league, 10-132. Ain't got to worry about that no more. But it gives you a chance to do your little credit card thing, Stephen Jones, right? And pluck us a Derrick Henry.
Correct.
Who, again, it's in the past. It don't matter. We all know he lives here, but a lot of NFL players live here. Dallas is the number one free agent destination, although you wouldn't know about the number of free agents that they get. This is the place where people want to play. And it's not just, it's America's team and all this type of stuff. You have to be in Dallas to understand why players want to play here. That's a variety of things, right? Now, you ain't going to get them on the cheap. You still got to pay market value. That's why if you handle your business contract-wise, then you free up this space and you can make a move like that, which they did. Okay, now back to the Cowboys. When you look at something that we talked about a lot here, right? And it's a situation that it's a case of history repeating itself, okay? In a way. Coming up 2003 with Parcells, right, at 10-6. All right, here we go. They had some other things happen along the way in 2004 that derailed them. Quincy Carter, namely, okay? But Darren Woodson missed the season, right? And Woody could still ball. And that was your free safety. And they were converted to a 3-4. So you get a lot of that Frisco look, that single high, right? Well, Parcells didn't trust anybody but my man, Roy Williams, who Parcells used to say he's a biscuit shy of a linebacker. All right? He didn't trust anybody to play free safety. So he put Roy there, right? That's not Roy's stilo.
That was ugly, too.
You know what I mean? He had the ability early on with his speed to be a really good coverage guy. We know that. 2002, 2003, he had it like that. Okay, but you had Woody bailing his ass out so he could play strong safety. All right, now we fast forward to now. Zimmer, because this is a Zimmer deal right here, man. McCarthy ain't moving no chess pieces on defense, right? Zimmer, because they lost Sam Williams, okay, he has to play Micah at right end. He's got to start him, or left end. He's got to start him on the outside at end. 3-point stance. 4-point on that last play when Jackson got the first down. He was really dug in. He's doing his dead level best. We know he's going to compete. He ain't going to complain about it. But it's a bad deal because of the size factor. All right? All the way across the front line. That's why the one tech is so critical, because you got O'Diggy, who's a squirmy, slither-through kind of a guy. You got Lawrence, who's an excellent run defender. He's 265. You got Micah, 255. Okay?
Is that big?
The tight end and the receiver in motion come into play. When they double Lawrence, they chip Micah. He's already got a tackle and tight end over him. All right? But they do not have another option. They really don't. And so for them, and we've seen the results of it. Micah, high ankle sprain. Guy's been pretty durable, man, but he's playing in the trenches now. Starts at end. And that's a real, real tough thing because Zim's like, I'm not sticking anybody else out there. They obviously don't like Golston. They don't have anybody else on the roster they want to stick out there. They got Nealon working at Lawrence's spot. They don't want to flip him. When Big Rich was on the show, we used to talk about right and left tackle and all that type of stuff and all your muscle memory and all that, man. Flipping sides in defensive ends. It's not like Madden where you just get a dude and flip him. Like you take a 6'4", you take a 6'5", 225-pound wide receiver, add 25 pounds to him. He's a 70 as a receiver. All of a sudden, he's an 89 as a tight end. They don't work like that. It just absolutely does not work like that. So this is kind of what they're up against. Now, I'm going to say this before I throw it back to you guys. And I know we're going to get into the Giants and all that, and I definitely got thoughts on that.
No, go on, take it out.
To me, all right, I want to land the plane by saying I think that the addition that they can make, because in football, everything affects everything. The addition that they can make is a running back. I really firmly believe that. Now, they got caught in a roster thing because I thought for sure they had a short week. They were going to call up my man, Mr. Dalvin, right, and see what was up with him. Just a year ago, man, at the end of before the start of previous season, this guy was along with C-Mac, the best speed back in the NFL. That was the kind of season he had, 1,100, 1,200 yards every year that he had been in the league, right? Consistent, productive, speed guy, right? Played with a terrible quarterback last year with the Jets. So I'm thinking, all right, we're going to see what the problem is. You start getting guys hurt, or you get a 6'4", 341-pound softy get pushed to the sideline, and you got to put him on IR, I felt like they should have just cut his ass. All right. Again, talk about salary. I don't give a shit about that. You're on the hook for the salary anyway. Somebody's on the roster after week 1. He's a veteran. His salary's guaranteed. Screw that. Ain't nothing you can do. They should have cut him and sent a message. But now they put him on IR. Then he goes and pops off. Well, I'm fine. I'm good. But that's the organization's decision. Shut up. He should just accepted it. Right. But no. So he still takes up a roster spot. So there was nowhere that they could bring up Mr. Dalvin. You gotta send somebody down or put somebody on waivers or something. You know what I'm saying? But now they're so thin at the cornerback position too. And at defensive line, where they feel like they had to make some changes, they can't just do it. And they'll face the same thing if they have to make a trade for a running back. But I say it because if you look at again, football, everything affects everything. We saw Carolina. They got, what was it? They gave up. The total score of the games was 73-13. They got smoked. Offense could not score, right? I watched that game where they stuck the Red Rocket, Katy, Texas's own, TCU, Andy Dalton, right? Stuck him in there. And from jump, all day to throw, dealing, they got Chuba Hubbard, my man from Oak State, right? Running the ball, getting 6, 7, 8, 5, right? Walk it down the field. They go and they beat Las Vegas, who beat the Ravens the previous week by 2 scores. They beat Las Vegas in their own barn by 2 touchdowns, and the shit wasn't that close. That was a 3 TD game. And what I'm getting at is everything affects everything. During that game, Carolina's defense that had surrendered, 47 and 28 or whatever it was against the Chargers, right? All of a sudden, they're playing inspired. And they're rested. You ain't going to be able to fix your D-line with trades and personnel moves, unfortunately. But running back, one guy. You can add one guy, okay? And if he's that dude, he doesn't have to be great, but if he's that dude, like I would say like a mid-level move, like for a guy they pursued in free agency, my man Moss, who played with Indianapolis last year. I think that's a tough little son of a bitch. And they missed out on him by like $1 million or whatever it is, right? Cincinnati's notoriously cheap. I think a mid-round deal will get it done for him. He's a solid down in, down out guy that will work as a good complementary or a good complement to, or should I say, Zeke and the other boys will be a good complement to him. And you can kind of go from there, right? That's what they're going to have to do. Best defense, good offense. In this case, yes. That's the only personnel move I think they can make. And said before, I say it again, you can't stop the run, you can't stop anything. And so one of the ways you do that, We all remember the Romo teams in 2014 and Dak in 2016. That defense was kind of weak or very middling, especially compared to other playoff teams. How did you get the most out of it? How'd you get the most out of it?
Leave them off the field.
Working them.
Yep.
Scoring.
Absolutely.
Change the mindset, man. When you come out, you score first. Score 14 points in the first half, 17 in the first half. Change the mindset. Now, we can't play fast and loose. These guys are scoring. Okay, we got to try to score. And so then everything affects everything, man. They got the special teams. Firmly believe defense is going to have to get some help, but I believe you get some help by getting a solid, proven running back in here that you can count on down in, down out. And then Rico can complement him. It's like in your pitching rotation. You get a stud every other pitcher in your rotation instead of being a number one guy. Now he's two.
Yep.
Now he's three. Now he's four. Now he's five. Because you got that guy at the top. So now the twos and threes perform better. Rico Dowdell looks like a solid football player. You call the DB, get him the ball more. Let's see what he's got. He helped out big time.
Yep.
Okay. Imagine how good he'll be if he had a thumper like a Moss or someone like that, man. That all right, man. First couple series is gonna be Moss's world. All right. I form too tight, whatever. Boom. Let's dig in and get it. Right. Then you come in with the changeup, with the Rico. You got Zeke for short yardage. You got Vaughn as the third down guy, right? And he looks solid, but he's a complimentary player, as is Rico. Get that bell cow, so to speak, today's version of a bell cow. We ain't talking about Earl Campbell or anything like that. But we get today's version of a bell cow, a guy that can handle 18 carries a game for you, that you can count on. You know what I mean? And that's how you help fix this thing. It's a process, boys. It's definitely a process.
You got to be thinking on that one because you know what? That's probably one of our most deficient areas of finding a free agent back who can be a thumper for us. Because if we think the backs that we have had to be successful, they're all draft guys. Think about it. DeMarco Murray, Zeke, we got lucky with Zeke. He kind of fell in our lap. And then they try to go back and retread Darren McFadden. That didn't work out. Felix Jones,
he did okay, but
he did all right. But I mean,
it was 1,100 yard season. He actually
surprised quarterback, man. I mean, that's
kind of the last week he did it out, if I remember correctly.
And that was without. Was that the year Romo went out in 15?
I think that's the year Romo was out.
Yeah, in game 2. Yeah,
I went to the Ravens game that year, I believe. I think it was that year. We had like quarterback carousel, but like I'm just thinking like the plug and play guys that we bring in there.
No, you're right. Overall, yeah, no doubt.
Yeah. So I wonder if that's the area that we
Eddie George.
Lord have mercy.
Oh God, that was brutal.
Yeah, I wonder if the area bring dudes off the couch. Right, who was that one guy, man? That old fullback guy, number 20 or whatever, man. He brings dude in, man. He brought a dude off the couch, right? And dude was with the Jets, right?
Richie.
I forgot his name, man.
It'll come to me. His first name was Richie. I know who you're talking about.
He was a quote unquote Parcells guy. He was a solid guy. Adrian Burrell, right? He brings Burrell in, right? And Burrell comes off the couch and runs for like 75 yards one game, catches a touchdown pass in the game. And Parcells cuts his ass 2 weeks later. Parcells knew the limits of the plug and play shit. The other back I'm talking about is Anderson. Okay, now that guy stayed with the team because he was a true fullback, but they were running through the handbricks of the world and all these other cats. And Parcells got Morrell, plugs and plays him. He does okay. Then all right, hey, thanks, Adrian. Now you can head back to the house, right? So it occasionally works, okay, but that's not really what they need.
Yeah, Richie Anderson is who we're talking about. Yeah, Richie Anderson is who we're talking about. Brought him off the bench. But man, I like what you brought up, Joe, in the whole, and it actually speaks to Will's question. So bottom line, what's the Cowboys' identity? Because what you put forward into his question, which is like perfectly timed.
Correct.
That's Dak and CD now.
Yeah, that's happened.
Yeah, the identity is Dak and CD now.
Well,
that's the identity.
But it has to be Dak and CD. So
it has to be.
To his question. Well, follow me though. To Will's question, And to your point, it's definitely got to be that. It was got to be that anyway. But it's got to be that because you're going to have some semblance of play action. And you can't have play action if you don't have a running game. You have to have balance, right? Because
defense honest, man.
So and JC, you're definitely going to appreciate this. This is going to have to be really more of what the original West Coastish style offense was. The offense McCarthy came up in as a young coach, and that's that ball control passing game, right? So you're gonna have to. It's gonna be a lot of balls in the flat because you've got multiple backs that can catch the ball in space. Yeah. So basically, your long handoffs. So because really, when you really break it down, this is where we're gonna get to some real straight no chaser, like real football shit right here. Is how do you get to 2nd and 5? Right? Right now we can't consistently turn around and hand the ball off and get to 2nd and 5, 2nd and 6, right? If we do that, we're more looking at 2nd and 8, 2nd and 9, and then that's a different deal in the playbook to get to a short 3rd down. So how do we get to 2nd and 6, 2nd and 5? Short passing game. Mm-hmm. Instead of handing it to them, to me, this is where Deuce Vaughn comes a little bit more valuable. Get him in space. Matter of fact, let's go to some 2-back sets with like a lot of the motion that's killing Dallas defensively. Put Deuce out there with whomever you want to have as show as the thumper, right? Put him in motion, make that safety come up, or that linebacker, make them declare who they're going to man the guy up with. If they're in man, that guys go with him. Okay, now there's your read right there. Who the hell is going to guard Deuce Vaughn in space, as a safety or linebacker? Short pass to him, pop. Now you got this 2nd and 5, 2nd and 6. Now you've shortened down the distance, right? It's little compartmentalized shit for them to have to do that. So the Will's question is going to be a ball control passing game unless you find that guy. And this which breaks the question to Will's question and your point, JC, is what if the Cowboys were like, look, if we can get past the Giants, because you have to believe organizationally. We know we got a problem. We got to do something in this running back room. We know Dalvin Cook's, in the room, getting himself acclimated, football acclimated, to our system, everything else that goes with that. We probably can get past the Giants with the short week. You have to think somewhere, and they had to be thinking that, right? Because hell, they've beaten them 13 of the last 14 times.
Right.
We probably can get through that game. But and I'd love to hear those in the chat, especially you two. What if Cook's that guy? Then you've changed everything because we don't know yet. We really don't know yet. What if Cook is that last year in Minnesota's form? Now you've already got to your excellent point, JC. You already got the complementary guys, and really in a more defined role. If Cook's hopefully is that guy. So now you got your short yardage guy, more defined in Zeke. You've got your space guy you can use to help defenses declare, so you can use that ball control passing game in Deuce. And then you got the guy to spell Cooks on for a series or two because he's an older back, Enrico. Now you've got a more defined room. If Cooks is that guy, if he's not, then you still do more of the same. Now I think the roster spot that's in jeopardy, if Cooks is able to give you anything because of his versatility, because he has speed with more size, is Deuce. Quite honestly. Because you can go do that same 2-back deal with, say, the 2-back set, say with Rico and Cooks. Because, we've seen Cooks definitely has the ability to get out in space and do his thing. He's plant his foot in the ground, get upfield, make a guy miss, and he's housing it. He probably still has that ability. Or at least make a big explosive chunk play. So I think they've got some things there, which is going to bleed into, as soon as we get into the Giants, which I think is a massive premium in the overarching conversation of your identity question, Will, is to the premium on coaching. And we can transition from that.
Yeah, and I'm going to say this too. Like, the problem the Cowboys has, besides now they had some major O-line problems last year. I'm speaking about Colorado. I see some parallels because they trying to force the ball up the field to Travis Hunter. We know that Shador is a major arm talent, but You can't consistently run the ball. You have a guy like Dylan Edwards, who is, he plays for, Kentucky. Kansas State this year, but last year he was that big play back who could get out of space and then, take that bad boy to the house, but you didn't quite know how to use him. So they were trying to, bring him on, have him hit the A gap and shit, and like, he's too damn small, man. It's just not gonna happen. So their whole conundrum last year was to try to, okay, well, what can we do with this guy who's explosive going to the deep point?
Right.
So what can we do to make the defense not hone in on one way that we play? Meaning we can't. Nobody respects our run game. So all they're gonna do is rush 5, rush 6, and they're gonna like, hey, y'all can't stop all us. And we gonna hit your door every time. So Dallas kind of has a similar thing where there's no threat in the running back room, like you guys have already said. There's no need to go and recrystallize that. So again, the Dalvin Cook theory, I like that. So I hope that he is what we all hope, to be, because that's definitely gonna help give us some versatility as far as the defense, just knowing where we're going every goddamn.
Because you're bracketing CD and you're begging Cooks and Ferguson, whom I love. But those guys they're complementary pieces, if we're being honest. They're not going to Travis Hunter you. They're not going to CeeDee Lamb you. They're not going to be that big, huge difference-making, playmaking guy. So yeah, you got to have that.
Yeah. So to answer Will's question, we don't fully have identity. I like the way you broke it down to show that, that is our identity if we had to peg it down to something, but it goes back to what I always say. I think the way I took the question was, what's our identity as it is to impose your will on a team? And the answer is we don't have one.
That's a fact. Yeah. And to that end, I so miss the days, JC, you appreciate this too. I so miss the days, and I'm speaking specifically of 14 and 16, when Dallas would come out of, they clap out of the huddle, run up to the line of scrimmage, line 5 guys up, DeMarco Murray in 14, Zeke in 16, said, we're going to run the football, and there's not a damn thing you can do about it. I love nothing more than arrogant run game. That is my favorite brand of football, because you can everything off of it. It's like, we're going to run it. We're going to give it to this guy right back here. Yeah. See that dude right? Look, see him? See 15 right there? We're going to give it to him. 21 then. We're going to give it to him. All right? And not a damn thing you can do about it. Yeah. I love that, man. They sure as hell do not have that. So now you got a huckabuck. Now you got to piece it together, and which is going to put the premium on head coach / play caller, because to JC's point then on the synergy piece, how do you help a defense out that really is hamstrung by the personnel not to plug and play and do something about what their deficiencies are? That offense has to help them, or this season is going to get real long in a real hurt.
Well, the main thing is,
before you go, JC, hold on. He nods the super chat, and I got you, bro. All right, so and shout out again, Will, for dropping 5 on it, man. Says, just seems to me the Cowboys lack creativity. Dak gets caught up in being so technical. Ever since the Dak injury, he has forgot to just play the game. Hey, you ain't gonna get a whole bunch of pushback over here. So with that being said, you know what time it is.
You know what I mean, boy. Yeah. Money. Yeah. Money. Yeah.
Man, thank you so much, man.
Appreciate it, Will. I like Will's statement there. So I would say to a point up until last year. Well, up until last year, because last year we saw a lot more of Dak of the pre-injury Dak last year. He was taking off decisively. He was making plays with his legs a lot more, and being more of that instinctive guy. He does, certainly through these first 4, although he was really good Thursday night, and I know we'll get into it, throwing the football, and he's gotten decidedly better from his first 2 or 3 years to where he is now in throwing the ball. But that creativity piece, I think a lot of that is, because of how much he turned the ball over, not only a couple years ago from some of the picks, as well as fumbling the football. So I think he's been kind of reserved, and I think he's not exactly as trusting of that OL, particularly from his blind side, unfortunately. That we've seen a little bit of that. Hopefully, going forward, to add to your identity staple, that he, just like you said, turns it loose, because they're gonna need some games where he's gonna have to, use the 235, 240, whatever he is, with his legs, gain first down. He's gonna have to go into every tool in his own bag to help this thing offensively. The deficiencies on the offensive line, and to help, to JC's point, what that defense lacks, which is keeping them out the field. They have to put a premium on time of possession. So that's a great point.
Well,
there you go.
The thing with creativity is that what people kind of forget is that creativity is spawned from initial good ideas and concepts. You grow from them. Case in point, you were talking about down and distance, TB. Teams, and this goes way back, the 90s Cowboys love to throw on first down. Okay. But it got to where I knew they were going to, and everybody else was like, all right, dig in, you're ready, stop the run. They always threw on first down. Okay. Why? They had that base. They had somebody that they could go to. And so you're not only talking about, well, we're going to run it and we're going to get 5 on first down, but if we throw it and it's incomplete, we know we can come back and run it on second down and get 5.
Get 5. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Now we're 35. We're not really tripping on an incomplete pass on first down because we can hand the ball to whomever it may be and get 4 to 5, and then we set up, we play down and distance on third down. Okay. When you aren't sure, or when the group is not good enough that you're at 3rd and 9, well, therein lies the rub, as Shakespeare said. So you start to chase, and you start to say, well, now we got to throw. Oh, geez, the second time we got to throw. Let's pass it down. And that's the thing. And so, like I said, any of these cats, that the McVays and the Reeds, right, and your man, the brother down there in Miami, at least that's what he says. Anyway, that guy, that coach. I noticed, man, that when Tua got hurt, man, he was S-curling like a motherfucker. he was like, hey, man, wait a minute, maybe it's true. Anyway,
that man brought
he's a heck of a football coach.
I love it.
Pants aside, you get that creativity when you got something good that you can count on.
That's a terrific point, though.
You can spawn off and have laughs and jokes in the flow chart as well. Let's do this. You know what I'm saying? You have that freedom because you got that base. Okay, that base. That's what that's about. Okay, and so that's what we're talking about in creativity. I mean, the play calling has been okay, but where you get into, I give McCarthy credit. The play calling has been pretty good. Okay, because that's his world. That's not Schottenheimer's world. That's McCarthy's world. Right. All right. So it's been pretty good, but your play calling and your ability as a coach and your IQ goes up when you have better players. They make you seem smarter. Right. And so I want to say this.
Word to bear.
In closing, we talk about Mr. Dalvin, my man. Just always loved this game. He was so cool at Florida State. Those Florida State guys, they're so cool. Whether it was Coleman or Peter Warwick or Dion or Andre Wadsworth or Derek Brooks, like the Florida State guys seemed so cool, right? They play with style, right? And I love me some Mr. Dalvin. Love it.
Shout out to Ampley.
The thing is that once again, this is the game within the game that people don't understand, the day-to-day. He's on your practice squad. So you gotta move another player off your active. Okay, if you want him. All right, if you want to bring him up. So we know the problem is they are heavy at quarterback. That's the problem. They don't want to get mad at their money. Your man Lance looks like a sunk loss. $5 million cap hit. Ain't gonna never see the light of day.
Talk about it,
bring it up, man.
That's what it looks like.
This is real. This is straight no Texas.
You're married to him. They've made that clear. Okay, so now you start looking at all these other areas, man. They got shortages on defense. Okay, in terms of manpower up front. and in the secondary with the corners. So can't really go there. Well, all right. Well, here's a thought. Look to the actual running back room. Now the question becomes, if you put Dowdell on waivers, he gets picked up. If you put Deuce on waivers, maybe he might. Somebody might pick him up. They might pick him up just to fuck with you. Who knows? They might. The guy that you can put on waivers that will make it through, that you can re-sign to the practice squad, but he won't go for it, is you know who.
Yeah.
If you waive Zeke right now at $3 million, ain't nobody in the league picking him up. That's a fact. That is a fact. It's not a knock on him. It's just true. It's just true. Okay. Dalvin Cook was way more productive than Zeke is last year. He sat for a long time before he got picked up. Yeah. Okay. And let me tell you something. If you do it, and then would he go to the practice squad? I think it becomes a pride thing. But to me, at that point, and this is not a knock on him, because look, man, in 2016 and for all the way up to that point and on through the early part of his career, man, Zeke was a tank, man. That guy was great. But it's a tough spot that he plays in. We all know how difficult the running back position is to play. And so if you were to say, look, Zeke, we're going to waive him, and we'll bring you back, right? If he balks at it, well, then the ball's in your court. And you might have to say, well, sorry, man, we got to do something. And this is not me hating on Zeke. We're looking at candidates that you could push through the waiver wire, right? Because you need a spot. Right. And they're going to run into this shit as injuries mount throughout the year. So that's something that, again, man, it may be, it may be heresy because they love Zeke there. And I get that. But this is football, it's the NFL. And the NFL stands for not for long. Think about that. So, way back in the day, the Cowboys cut Tony Hill because he came back fat after Thanksgiving. I loved Tony Hill. It's like, damn, they cut Tony Hill. Yeah, when they cut Hollywood, there was other stuff with that. I was like, damn, they cut Hollywood, man. Hollywood's dope. Well, kind of, a little bit. That was kind of the reason. That happens, man. Yeah, it's painful. But it happens with all the good teams. They'll let somebody go, hey, man, sorry, man, they ain't working out. Got to go. Wow, they cut him. We'll see.
Send him out to pasture, man. Yeah, I like it. And before we transition to the Giants game, I do want to do our fan favorite to get some money back in your pocket. We're doing a cash app for the 5-piece. That's sponsored by Will today with the Jeopardy question of the day, Cowboys trivia question of the day. Let me get my Jeopardy music since last week was kind of a halfway epic fail. So we gonna work on it. We build as we fly. All right. So as we see if y'all, I'm gonna give y'all a relatively easy one, man. I'm not gonna bust your hump too bad. All right, so question of the day is: what year did the Dallas Cowboys win their first Super Bowl, and who was their opponent? You have 1 minute, listening body. Go.
Man, don't give them a minute, man. They deserve about 10 seconds for this one.
There's an answer I'm hoping to hear just for my own entertainment purposes.
All right, 30 seconds. 30 seconds, all it was. Any questions? Any answers we got on the board?
Wow.
No? Oh, y'all ain't want that free money? Well, It's gone. Well, for those who don't know, that would be in 1972, where our Dallas Football Cowboys defeated the Dolphins. That's the NFL Super Bowl, which only 12 years in of a franchise. Right. So all y'all hating on the Cowboys, we got our first Super Bowl 12 years in. Houston, I'm looking at you.
Against the now
and played in their first
Dolphins.
And played in their first one 7 years.
Yeah, they screwed Flores, but then they followed it up by hiring another brother. So good for them.
There you go.
You know what I'm saying? The woke ass Miami Dolphins who haven't won a playoff game since 2000.
And RIP to the recently departed Dwayne Thomas, whom I had the pleasure of meeting and getting to know over the last probably 15, 20 years. Recently departed Dwayne Thomas, who was the running back on that first.
Man, Thomas was cold, boy.
Yeah, great dude.
Dwayne Thomas was cold, man.
One of the first big time misunderstood cats ever, man. But if you had the pleasure and privilege, like I did, I got to meet him on a random weeknight at Nick and Sam's about 20 years ago, and we've been cool ever since, man. And I was like, bro, this dude here was Cowboys royalty. So, R.I.P. to the great Dwayne Thomas off that first Cowboys Super Bowl team.
Man, what if they had Dwayne Thomas, Calvin Hill, and Hollywood Henderson all right and exact for that decade? You know what I'm saying? All right. I mean, Calvin Hill, 6'4", 235, right? I mean, if they could have strung that together, right, and kept that going, and then Hollywood could have handled his business, then they transitioned to smooth slide on into Dorsett, right? Woo-wee. Think about that, man, because Thomas was cold. Yes, yeah, man, that's a damn good one.
Man, I got to say,
Thomas,
too, man.
From Dallas, originally from Dallas, went to Lincoln High School. Don't forget that.
Dallas Lincoln, man, home of Chris Bosh.
That's right. My man.
Yeah, nothing but ball out of Dallas Lincoln. Some respect to that school. And I want to say, too, two RIPs, man. You know, me and D Brown over covering sports the last few years, man. We got to meet Will Franco and Dick Buckus, man, before.
Indeed.
Slightly before they met their untimely demise, which was kind of weird to observe.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe me and you cursed or something. I don't know.
I don't know, man.
Lighted that, but
that Buckus one kind of hit because that was like 6 months before.
Yeah.
Man, you remember, man. I was like, get it. It's like, bro, there's legends, and then there's the legends legend, right? I mean, it was like, bro, that was Dick Buckus. It's like, man, I just literally sat and chopped it and made him laugh. The great Dick Buckus, R.I.P. indeed.
Yeah, I mean, who would have known, man? It'd be the last time you get your chance to chop it
6
with him.
months later, he was gone. Yep.
Yeah, man. So you never know who you meet when you're in the field, man. So all right, so let's transition over. Let's talk about this not so great, but a great win nonetheless. 2015 over the New York Football Giants.
Yes.
Gentlemen, your thoughts and opinions. Go.
Man, here's my thing. You've heard me say this multiple times in the 3+ years that we've been doing this, and I will continue with this. Early wins, however you get them, are huge. You gotta bank wins when you get them. When you get on that side of November, this ugly ass win. If this season comes to be anything, right, and this is up in the air. We cannot deny that. But if this season comes to be anything, that ugly ass win in September against the Giants is going to be large because it happened, right? You got to back those early wins because what you don't want, because let me tell you the difference between a 2-2 and 1-3 at this juncture of the season, particularly with this team.
Hey, if I can say this real quick, you're right about the 1-win thing. I just want to be real brief. The Rangers signed before last year when they won the World Series, by the way. They signed Jacob deGrom and gave him a boatload of money. He won one game for them. They qualified for the playoffs by fucking one game.
One game.
All right. Yeah. Wins matter.
Yes, they do.
They matter. They qualified by one game. deGrom came out, shut it down. I know it was early in the season, but that one win counted. So you're talking about September and October wins. They are meaningful in November, especially if you ain't got them.
Especially if you ain't got it. Yes, sir. That great tie-in. Because, and I've said, and we've seen it, like we've seen the subjective evidence of that. You've got to get these wins early. I remember last season when everybody, because we're connected and we certainly be connected to the fan base and the rhetoric and the noise that comes there because we follow the team like we do. If you remember, a lot of the noise last year when they were winning games against lesser teams and beating their ass, but they were winning the games, right? And even though the Eagles, who we called fraud early, but they were winning games, right? Yep. Become, when things start to settle, things start to come back to you, the fact that you banked those early wins was a big deal. The fact that Dallas banked those early wins last year, it was like, they beating the hell out of these teams that ain't whatever. Dude, you still got to win the game. How bad do you think Cincinnati wants a win and their ledger now? You know, you think San Francisco is going to, you know, with all that they're facing in their injury situation, you think San Francisco is sitting there like, bro, if we lose today and go to 1-3, we're gonna be okay? No, they want to get to 2-2 just like Dallas. So, man, and these are upper echelon teams we're talking about coming into this season. These damn wins matter. Style points. It was that was literally the equivalent of the wingman taking one for the team. It's like, you know, the chick's probably a lot heavier than you would prefer. She's probably not the best looking chick that you prefer, but you know what? You still hit. That means you won. And you took one for the team. And if all you players and former players out there, you know what I'm talking about. So what I'm saying is, bro, you got to get them however you can get them. And I'm going to land, because I know we get up against the time wise, I'm going to land right here as far as the Giants piece is. That's the game you're expected to win, regardless of what your noted deficiencies were going into it on a short week. Certainly suffered some casualties with losing 2 starters, the injury, you know, after the game, and Micah and Tate. But I got to give, because, you know, the conversation is going to always be a lightning rod regarding him. I got to give QB1 his due. If QB1 doesn't play as well as he did, they lose that game. That's fact. I read a comment somewhere on the book about, you know, how the stat, because he threw for an unbelievable percentage, you know, didn't turn the ball over, what have you, had the high rating, which that's all the sexy nerd stats. But it's like, bro, if he's not on point like he was throwing the ball, like he did Thursday night when they needed it, because you're coming off a short week, you don't know what the hell's going on in the run game. The Giants are an improved team. Let's be clear there. Their D-line is improved. Their O-line is improved. Now, you still expect to beat them, but if QB1 doesn't play as well as he did, they don't win that game, as ugly as it was. So you bank them and get them how you can get them. You take this early kind of a mini bye week. Hopefully somebody tells them about the show. And Will's questioning your point earlier, JC, about the creativity piece, because they're going to need it going into Pittsburgh next week. But, I mean, it's a division win, another big deal, right? And then you touched on something at the very, very beginning, JC, like this may have been pre-show. The significance of that Giants win, we may be talking about this 4 or 5 weeks now, because all of a sudden, look across the landscape, man. Everybody's got major shit to deal with injury-wise. Everybody. The Philadelphia Eagles aren't going to be without everybody today. That's a big deal. You know, San Francisco is dealing with what they're dealing with. I just saw before the show that, you know, McCaffrey's probably not back till they're hopeful to get him back by the first week of November. Do you know how much the world changes between now at the end of September and November? A lot. That's what, 5-6 games? So the thing is, you take that win and you do whatever you got to, by hook or by crook. You got to hook a buck. You got to drop plays up on your hand, whatever the hell you got to do, man. But you get these wins where you can get them, because you're looking at these games coming up for Dallas, and it's really, on paper, tough-looking schedule. Most of those road games, you got to find a way to win them, just like you found a way to win one in East Rutherford just this past week. I don't give a damn what at the end what the style points look like, and we can dive into what we like, what we didn't like. But man, a win's a win, and I'll take it every single time.
Well, because I say this real quick. It's like when you're a Cowboy fan, you got to kind of enjoy it in 2-part harmony. From a pragmatic standpoint, you understand that all wins count. Like you were just alluding to. Like you can't be so caught up in all that stuff when, again, it's a series of 4 different mini-series seasons. So you gotta bank them games in, because when we get to week 17, it's a culmination of all this stuff you did from rooter to tutor. Now the second part is, when you're a Cowboy fan, you got to defend all your wins. So because here's the juxtaposition. Like we normally do, like we boat race the Giants damn near every year. Both times. We pretty much just boat race their ass. And then when we do that, it's like, well, y'all ain't beat nobody. the win don't count. And then when we know the Giants kind of improved a little bit, got some young talent out there, pull out, not the most beautiful looking win. You still get this bullshit. Oh, y'all barely beat the Giants. Motherfucker, which one is it, man? Which one is it? So again, you got to be secure in your own Cowboy fanship. I'm kind of
100%.
Because you ain't gonna win by winning with this. So ultimately, my pragmatic mind is gonna dominate. And I'm happy for the fact that we didn't blow a game that we be blowing sometimes. This is important, man.
Valid point.
Like. That's exactly what it's like.
Go ahead, JC.
You juxtapose American football against European soccer, okay, and the societies against one another. America is a democracy, or technically a republic. Most European countries, with the exception of a few Eastern Baltic states, are socialist. Now, our American football sports system is a socialist sports system. Rewards the bad with high draft picks. Okay. In England, in Europe, it's you can't hang with the big boys. Don't show up. It's wide ass open, man. You just buy players. There ain't no draft. Screw drafts. They don't have them, right? So America is built on the crescendo. The crescendo. We got Super Bowls. They have a series of crescendos that one is not greater than the other. They got UEFA. They got all these other. You know what I'm saying? These different little, European Cup. Blah 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 blah. Whatever, right? Different little crescendos, right? So to that end, along the lines of what my man Cliff said, yes, a victory over the Giants is kind of like money shot free porn.
Every week.
It's cool. It's like when they played Arizona twice a year. Oh yeah, they beat Arizona. Nice. Okay.
Oh my God.
And so, but not to minimize.
You did not. No, hell no.
Now we can't get over that, bro. We want you to get back to your point.
You can't just go past.
But like you said it. Look at the reaction to wins. Like Cliff was saying, look at the reaction to wins. That don't mean nothing. You know what I'm saying? That's nothing. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, and the whole philosophy is, well, they'll blow it in the playoffs. Okay, cool, man. So you know what? I'm just not even going to fucking watch the regular season. I'll get a notification on my phone as to who won the Super Bowl. Okay, cool. Why even be a fan? Why even watch? You know what I'm saying? Ain't nobody talking about you in December if you didn't do shit in September and October.
Correct.
Okay. So yeah, man, that's how it goes. That's where we're at with it. And you get all this stuff. We talked about social media and all this stuff, man, almost ruining the watching experience. If it wasn't NFL football, it's so great. And if we all didn't play the game in some form or fashion or play the game at a higher level, you guys played at a higher level than I did. You understand what goes into it and what it takes to play that game. But we've talked about it before. I'm not going to root for them to lose under any circumstances.
Correct.
I don't care. In 2020, when they were losing, man, I was in the bar talking cash money shit when they went up there and beat the Vikings with Cooper Rush. A quote unquote meaningless game. I was talking cash money shit. Right. You know what I'm saying? Because that's how I am as a fan. Not going to let them ruin the enjoyment. And we know, okay, that yes, it is a bit more of a continuum. There's that word again. As you're working through these, it's almost broken down into blocks. Early season, mid-season, late season, playoffs, right? It is straight up attrition. And we talked about it in the pre-show, boys, that you don't know who's going to fall on their ass and fall off. That's on your schedule. And a lot of times it's because of injuries. Hell, the Giants were without a couple of their top corners. Think that shit didn't come into play? Cleveland missing their tackles. Think that didn't come into play? On and on and on and on. Nobody wants to hear it, right?
No.
But there was one positive. I think y'all know what it was. Okay. They had some positives, CD and the boys and Rico. Yeah. Guys were getting it done. You know what I'm saying? Got back involved. Hey, nice. Cool. But Mozzie showed up.
Yes, he did.
Mozzie showed up.
Yes, he did.
He had his best game. All right. He had his best game. And it's all about matchups. Right. It's like you'll see the kid from Philly, the kid from Georgia that just wrecked shop the other day. Right. I forgot the kid's the big D tackle. Right, just wrecked shop, 10th pick in the draft. Like, yeah, there he is, right? In matchups, it's different. Tyler Smith owns his ass. I've seen the film. Tyler Smith can handle him one-on-one just fine. Now, he struggled against who the Ravens were trying out there. That's what you get. And individually with the player, you really don't know. We don't know what their timeline is. Football is one of those funny-ass sports, man, when you play in pads. You can, I don't matter how old you are, you can wake up at 27 and be fucking done. And it's a precipitous fall from it. We don't know who's going through that. If Zach Martin has fallen off so substantially. I don't think he has, maybe a little bit, but that's just age in the position, right? There's so many things that we don't know, but I will say this. It was a positive for Mozzie to show up, make some tackles and have an impact. They held those boys to 26 yards rushing. Their yards per game in rushing dropped by 30 yards after that game. Now, we get back into situational football. We know why that was. The Giants felt like they didn't have time to fuck around. Why? Cowboys came out and scored. Aha.
That has to be the premium.
Aha. They came out and scored. They didn't do shit in the second half in terms of offensively, but they came out and they scored early, and they put the Giants on their heels a little bit. Okay, we'll try this run shit. We'll see how it works, but man, we gotta go back to the pass. And I thought, Daniel Jones missed Slayton on that one. I get it, that free play. He missed him. Should have been touchdown. We get that. Hey, we have P&Ms too. I don't want to hear shit. He missed him. But the slot receiver that caught all those passes, the rookies, he may turn into a good player. He had a couple of big-time busts. He slipped on the first down that he had, and then that play where Jones threw deep and Malik Hooker got caught kind of in the jet stream, right? And the receiver stops, right? When what you do is pick him up and put him down and run through it. If he does that, that's a touchdown. He wins him the game, right? So when you get these teams into these situations where they're like, they're not going to be like Baltimore and say, well, we're going to run it. Well, we're going to run it again. And we're going to run it again.
Yep.
And we're always going to be a threat to run it.
Yeah.
We will run this motherfucker. We'll run it at any time.
No doubt.
Right? The Giants pulled off of that. And I think Dable's a pretty good coach. All right. They got some personnel. They need a tight end like nobody's business.
Yeah. All
right. They really need a tight end. And that slot receiver, he could turn. I don't mean to crack the guy. He had a really good game, but you could tell he's a rookie. And receivers, they always make the adjustment. Not everybody comes in and goes fucking Randy Moss. Okay. Yeah. Matter of fact, no one does. Only Moss does that shit. Right. Okay. The last guy that I could think of that was a rookie was your boy from Michigan that played for Cleveland. And then he fell off the face of the planet after that. Like, I thought he was going to be cold. The receiver from Michigan, I forgot his name, man. But like, he comes in and gets 15. Yeah, he comes in and gets 1,500 yards. It wasn't Terrell. It was the other guy, Brandon. So I forget. But like, he was going to be the man. Then he fell off. Those are anomalies. They really start to get better the more that they get into the system. And that kid could get better. But as it related to the game there, and again, man, people don't care about that getting better shit. They want wins now, especially in New York, right?
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? 12 straight. That's unheard of. That's unheard of. And the thing is, while we sit around trying to figure out our shit, you got the Redskins. I'm sorry, the Commodore, team from DC, with Daniels, and Daniels looks like he might be able to play. I saw some great things from him in that Bengals game. So this is the NFL, man. They bring in new young guys all the time. The socialist system at work. Bad teams have a chance to get really good players, and no one cares about your problems. Sorry about your damn bad luck. We don't care. We're trying to get wins. That's what it's all about. And they got to win. So props to him for that. Dak was outstanding. He was outstanding in that football game. And that's you see that. And we always take for granted the times that he's so good. And he literally, if you want to say it, he kind of was the reason that we won that game. Okay. What we want from our quarterback, be able to carry us, our $60 million man. Can you carry us from time to time? He does that from time to time. He has these big games sometimes, but we seem to just blow that off, right? Because of when the games are. But look, I don't give a shit what anybody says. All right, these idiots that say, well, they're not going to win a Super Bowl. Just tank and play for the best possible draft pick. Everybody wants to build a fucking dynasty all of a sudden. All right, when all these guys that are 22 would start at once and hog out. Right. Well, that's not how it works.
It really does.
Everybody except the Chiefs, everybody with the exception of the Chiefs, has got to retool, reconnoiter, and refigure the shit along the way and make it work. Okay, they got to make it work. And if forget all this dynasty shit, man. All right, this ain't Madden football. This ain't video game football. You want to break through and just fucking get one. You just want to get one. All right, we'll deal with it next year. It's a week-to-week, year-to-year kind of a league, right? And these other teams are coming for your ass. And they remember when you hung 40 on them and beat them. And we're talking shit. Plus, you're the Cowboys, right? So we all know, you ain't going to get no breaks along the way. The rest of that schedule, based on how the teams are playing that are on the schedule and the way the Cowboys are playing, looks murderous. Again, as I said to you guys, we were having a chat. Carolina was a given. I don't know, man, not anymore. I don't think it's a given anymore, man. They seem to care, and they seem to be. They're not playing the tank.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? They had to make the quarterback decision. They did it. It paid off big time. I mean, Dalton looked clean, man. If you saw the shot during the game in the third quarter, he's standing over on the sideline with his helmet off. His hair is fried perfectly, right? No marks on him at all. You would have thought, oh, okay, Dalton's over there chilling, being clipboard Jesus. He's the backup. It's a timeout. Your boy was fresh and clean. They didn't get a hand on him. And that was big for that franchise. Doesn't mean that they're going to win out. But I think a lot of teams on the schedule will feel better about themselves than the Cowboys do. So, to that end, all right, it's going to be tough without Lawrence for sure. That really hurts. Mm-hmm. Micah is questionable. That's going to be tough to go up there and get a win. But if they can go up there, man, it's pivotal. It is literally the definition of pivotal. Think how big that will be, man, if they can go up there and get a win against those boys. That'll be huge. I'd be happy with them coming out 3-3 after the 6. But, man, what if you're able to pull off a 4-2, given the way this team has performed? Like when you're in the first half of a game and you're trailing 13-0, and you think how horribly you played and it should be 28, and you come back out and you win the second half and win the game.
Yeah.
That's what this kind of is. And it's just one at a time, bruv. One at a time.
There you go. Stated perfectly. And shout out to No News Podcast. He said,
shout out, bro.
To the brothers on the panel, Machismo TV sent me. And speaking of the devil, man, I'm there every TV. Sunday night. Y'all check me out on Machismo TV doing a sports wrap-up. And so, with that being said...
Welcome to Machismo TV, the ultimate destination for modern men seeking to upgrade their lifestyle. Subscribe to Machismo TV and Saul T-Balls. We stream daily from 12 midnight to 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, the best male-centric content. Highlight reels without reviewing or providing any editorial bias to the content. We have done so much, with so little for so long, we are now qualified to do anything, with nothing.
And let me say this, man. Yeah, go ahead, JC.
We're great and everyone else sucks. We can do anything with nothing, Playboy. You feel me?
Yeah. Well, let me say this too. The eye candy. Yeah. I'll be putting boys on to the eye candy female hoopers out there. Kaiser Gundesrick was my latest. Put boys on. Indeed. Boy, she tougher than material. She tougher than alligator meat, boy.
Yeah, buddy.
Yeah. So also, I'm over there all the time, y'all. So y'all check me out on that side of the world. And shout out to Machismo TV also for reaching 15,000 subscribers, man. So I remember when y'all was not even monetized yet, man. That's when y'all started letting me over on that side of the world, man. So salute to Machismo TV. Let me say that.
Right on.
Yes, sir. So as we land the plane on the show, man, we can go about another 15 if y'all got in, y'all. After that, I gotta get ready to head on to the J.
Man, I want to go out on this one, man, because I like where we built in the recaps of both of these games. And then the question that was put forth by our guy Will on what this identity is, because a lot of the things that both of you have spoken about lead up to the point that I'm making, man. So this team sits at 2-2. This schedule, as it plays out, as you look at it on paper, like you said, is daunting to say the least. But the bottom line is that this kind of goes to the identity point, is there are games on this schedule that Dallas will win that you'll think they'll likely not. They'll likely drop a game or two that you're like, man, how the hell did they lose that? Where I see this thing now is, and this is my overarching point to on this take, is the premium placed on coaching. We got to keep in mind here that Mike McCarthy's coaching for his job.
Yeah, absolutely.
This is the hand he's been dealt with. It ain't fair. They're like, hey man, we got this loaded squad. They loaded for bail on both sides of the ball. Special teams is hogging out. Man, go do your thing. All right. This is what he's been dealt with. He's got some rookies on the offensive line he's got to deal with. He's got some real issues right now. By the way, on the notifications just a moment ago, it's being reported that Parsons is out to the bye and Tank is going to IR. So this is what you dealt with, right? So now you got to get in your bag as a coach. You got to those coaching meetings, which I'm sure are intense anyway. They've got to be like evangelical sessions now, right? Because every guy that's coaching a position, particularly the ones of note that we've talked about where they are notably deficient, you got to circle the wagons now. The premium around the league on coaching is going to be on display. We've seen it, the great Mike Tomlin, whom I have the highest level of respect for as a coach. I mean, I think Mike Tomlin is it.
Man,
when I saw one of my favorite podcast clips ever, when he's sitting with Ryan Clark, and I forget the other Channing, the other cat that he does the podcast with, and they asked him, when he was talking about the draft evals, and he sees like all these notes about, the guy not being able to do this and whatever, his character, whatever else, and basically to paraphrase what he said, he was like, man, look, that's coaching. I run to coaching. He's like, if a guy is not getting it done, that's a indictment on your coaching. Dude, I almost jumped out of the seat. That's what I go back and watch that clip probably 10, 15 times. Just, it's like, man, bro, to have that mentality in your coach, and then you see what he's done, year in and year out, the turnover at quarterback, big personality, rocking the boat when you talk about the Le'Veon situation. The dude goes to his desk, goes to his job every week, and finds a way in that moment, in that week, in that practice, and gets it done. So, and you're going to see that. All of a sudden, Mike Shanahan, doesn't have the glitz and glam of the Hogs that he's had, where it's made the San Francisco 49ers the dominant team that they've been. He's going to be without CMC for a stretch. He's going to be without one of his better defensive players. He's out for the year. So, I mean, you're seeing it around the league. The premium on coaching, as it pertains to around the league, and most specifically with our Dallas Cowboys, is at the forefront. Okay, and it's going to be a real interesting dynamic over these next 4, if we're going to compartmentalize the season like we have, over this next 4, and really throughout the season, on what Mike McCarthy comes up with, given the cards he's been dealt. Because, again, he's dealing with the same adversity that so many other teams are dealing with, and Philadelphia, same thing. So many other teams are dealing with, and nobody gives a shit. And really, nobody gives a shit that, it kind of sucks that he doesn't have a contract next year. Man, he is literally coaching for his job.
Yeah.
With right now, he's probably dealing with, for all you space players out there, he probably got, he doesn't have a face card for a spade. And he's probably got a whole lot of clubs and a whole lot of hearts. It may have a couple of, like 1 or 2 aces and maybe 1 or 2 kings. But he's flush in the 9 spade books, if you know what I mean. So, bro, he got to figure it out. He got to figure out how to manipulate that board and get wins, and ain't got a lot of spades in his hand. You see what I'm saying? So, it's going to be real interesting to see. But guess what? A whole lot of other teams in the same situation. You look at the AFC picture. Bro, Cincinnati's 0-3. With the return of Burrow, they were damn near handing them that division. They are 0-3. Hell, Baltimore is still just 1-2. So, now, do you expect them to come out of it? No. But is that a given? Absolutely not. They got to come with it too. So everybody's got adversity. Now we get to see, or we're going to see, the sink or swim with our boys and Mike McCarthy and how they come out of this. And I'll land it right here. Man, I would be ecstatic. And I mean, like, pour extra whiskey if Dallas comes out of this next 4-game stretch the same way they came out of the first at 2-2. I'll take that. At the 8-game mark, if Dallas is at 500, I'll take that all day. I'm talking about the Michael Jackson kick, grabbing us, he, the whole shit. I'm doing all that. If Dallas is at 500, after the next 4.
I'm with it. And let me say this real quick. And shout out to No News Podcast, and this is kind of going off what you were saying. What the Patriots were doing, like plug and play. Like you had guys like Danny Amendola who the Cowboys couldn't use. Right? He goes to the Patriots, and as my man J.C. Conley would say, he was out there hogging out. Right?
Hogging out.
You know, being a requisite, replacement piece for Julian Edelman at times, and Wes Welker at times, and what have you. Like, so that's indicative of a good coach. In me as a former AAU coach, I remember and I'll share this little small anecdote because that's when I actually felt like I coached. I had a game, I was playing this tournament, and I only had 5 dudes available to play. 5. Nobody off the bench. And we were playing against this team that was the favorite team in the little tournament. They had like 15. So not only did I have 5 players, my starting point guard was out. So I had to use this kid named Trevor, man. And he was about 6'2", 6'3". He could handle the ball, but he wasn't no goddamn point guard. So long story short, I was like, okay. In my mind, I'm like, okay, we about to get our ass whooped. But I was like, okay, let me just get in my bag, like you said. As a coach, let me get in my bag. Let me outthink this other guy because that's the only way we're going to win this game. Because I ain't had no premium guys on my team. It just that ain't how it was.
Yeah.
Anyway, long story short, the coach made a coaching fallacy. He had all them bodies over there. He didn't press. So since he didn't press, I remember the first play up, Trev go down, and he lay it up, he left-handed. I was like, Trev, I call timeout immediately. But we got the ball back. I was like, walk the ball up every trip.
Every time.
Do that again.
100%.
He didn't get it because he's only 17.
Yeah.
16, 17, somewhere around there.
I made it.
Trevor, you're going to get tired. Trust me. Walk it up every time until they make you do something different.
To your personnel. Yes, sir.
Their coach let me walk the ball up the entire game until the very end, and we end up winning it. And I was like, that coach is an idiot. So, like, sometimes you got to outcoach people. And I was just like, trust me, you are going to be dead tired. Trust me.
I love it, bro.
So little idiosyncrasies like that are things that nobody talk about. I'm sure no parent picked up on that. I'm sure nobody going to give me no credit for that. But I saw it earlier. I called that. I was like, don't do that again.
Yeah.
You're going to be dog. You're going to be your tongue hanging out your mouth, man. Now, some guys are like that they can run the whole game. He wasn't one of them kind of kids. I like, no, man. Yeah. So little small things like that you learn. Also in that same team, the guy who was a point guard size, I put him at 3 because he was tough. He was like a Patrick Beverly kind of kid, but he just had a size, but he couldn't dribble worth a damn. He shoot when he wide open, so I put him at 3 because he gonna go there and mix up anybody. He don't care. So those little small things, you got to move the checkerboard around, man.
100%.
To play to people's strengths, and I hope that that's the case. Like you said with McCarthy, because him play calling, not bad. Player motivation, not so much. And to No News Podcast point again, that the guy who replaces him, he lived in that realm, not signing big free agents, a lot of cap space. And listen, man, when it came time to January, you know what time it was. In the NFC East, I'm sorry, AFC East, you know what time it was.
Yep.
So those things do matter, man. And these conversations matter, man. So I appreciate us talking about shit like this because there's nobody talking about stuff like this. It's always stats, numbers, all this stuff.
No question.
This in-between stuff is what sports is. Go ahead, JC.
Yes,
no question. No question. Again, in the words of Big Papi, who's not here, so I'm going to speak for Big Papi when you talk about coaching. All right, my man David Ortiz. All right. I said, Coach, you need to do something because tomorrow, there is no tomorrow. Right? You have to do something, and you look at historically the pass offs right? The Lake Show goes from Riley to Jackson. The Cowboys go from Landry to Johnson. All right. The Steelers go from Noel to Cowher to Tomlin. Right? The Ravens, they go from Billick to my man Harbaugh. That's what I'm talking about right there, man. An embarrassment of riches, but it's all about the way you run your organization. And again, man, I know it's the Rooney family, and it used to be Donahoe up there doing personnel or whatever, right? I vaguely, generally know that. Basketball's a little bit different. You know who's who, right? A lot of times, coach has a huge hand of personnel, but you don't. The Lake Show bus was a little bit out front, but not that much. But look at the other teams that I named, man. All right, we know about their coaches, and we know about what they do on the field or on the court. Right? But the owners, we know who they are, and that's that. You all know our situation here, man. Puff Jerry, all up in the videos, all up in the studio.
Jerry. That's underrated, dog. I'm reissuing that. I am reissuing that. That is duly noted. Puff Jerry.
real coaches don't put up with that shit. If they do, they got to be coming off of a divorce where they need the money and Jerry needs a stadium. Okay. Y'all know who I'm talking about there. Okay. Percents. Percents. You ain't gonna get a McVay or a Reed up in this piece, or certainly a Tomlin or a Harbaugh up in here. And they're like, nah, I'm good. Nah, I'll pass. And there's no effort to even get someone like that. And it's an organizational thing. When I think of Baltimore, they really kind of mirrored their shit after Pittsburgh. They're in that division with them. They kind of had to, and they've done a fantastic job with it. And this is, to me, the essence of the NFL and the differences between the NFL and college. All right. In the NFL, no whole shit allowed.
Hey.
They get up on your ass. That's it. Football teams, like we talked about the stats for the Cowboys, leading by 14 points at any point in the second half, 195-1 or whatever it is. Pretty much all NFL teams have a real gaudy record when leading. Okay? They just do not allow any HO shit. In college, shit, man, Georgia was getting beat 30-7. And then look, and all this, shit, you start seeing, like, you would never see a length of the play field to take the lead and then turn around and see another length of the play field, length of the field play back the other way to take the lead back. That's college. Okay, the NFL is different, man. The margins are a lot smaller. So, yes, man, I agree 100%. The coaches have got to do something. And this one is big, man. This one is big, man. And can they come in and fight, and win one? Think about that game in 2016 where Zeke and them kind of burst on the scene, right? Mm-hmm. That was a great game. You got Tomlin, right? He's over there, Omar Epsing out of his mind, going for two and shit, right? Now
I thought about that when you brought that to up earlier.
And it's like it sounds crazy, but it's like, well, shit, it's Tomlin. You want to talk about the benefit of the doubt?
Right.
I infinitely trust Mike Tomlin. I certainly trust him and the direction that he's taking them. And I just see that no whole shit allowed. Like, they're going to look at what the boys do and they're going to be like, oh, yeah, we got it. No worries. Now, it's still an NFL football game. Game hasn't been played yet. You still got a chance to go up there and win. Even with a limited Parsons or without Lawrence, it could be done. They could do it. Okay. I always was a Fields defender. Okay. Like, hey, but to the extent of, hey, he's got the physicals, man. I think that whole QB1 shit on Netflix really painted him in a bad light, really made him look like an asshole. And so everybody was against him from jump. And of course, Caleb Williams is doing that shit on his own now, all right, with his fucking attitude. But I think that the Fields is still early enough in the process, right, that he could be befuddled. You know what I'm saying? He could be bamboozled, if you will. You know what I'm saying? And so I think that's going to be the key to the thing. He doesn't lead a high octane offense up there. That outfit in 2016 was Roethlisberger and AB. You know what I'm saying? And Le'Veon Bell. Different deal. That was a different deal. And their defense wasn't quite as stout as it is now. So they're back to playing Steeler football.
Yep.
That they're conditioned to. It's the organization philosophy, like you guys said, line it up and go, hand in the ground. We don't give a shit who we got We are committed to running the football and playing very, very, very tough, sound fundamental defense, solid special teams play. Okay, it's not exciting. It's like Floyd Mayweather. Well, I don't like watching his pay-per-views. They were the opposite of Tyson pay-per-views. They would go to distance,
Absolutely.
but people, they would be boring, right? And Tyson would drop somebody in the first round. Either way, it wasn't worth the $50 or $75 that you spent. Well, first of all, in Mayweather's defense, all right, his job is not to entertain you. His job is to win. All right, and some bitch never got hit. That's one way to win. That to me makes him the GOAT. Okay, it's not pretty. All right, it is if you're a fan of boxing, and I love boxing. All right, I'm a fan of it because I love his slips and all that. Like he just can't be hit. You know what I'm saying? The Steelers' job is not to be the fucking AFL San Diego Chargers with Lance Allworth. Their job is to win.
Yeah.
All right, and they're gonna do it by hook or by crook. If you go, and these are the kinds that I love. It's almost the opposite of the Giants game, where it's like, well, it's only news if they don't win. Now, of course, I still watched. It's still pull form and all of that, but that's kind of the general consensus. Well, if they don't win, then it's news. If they do, whatever. Money shot, free point. You know what I'm saying? That kind of thing, right? And so, but this one, completely the opposite. You're not expected to win. You go get this one, yeah, man. Now we can kind of start to load up a little bit and say, all right, man, let's go. Let's dig in and play some ball. And just as an aside, as I wrap it up and land the plane, I do my best. Now, I use the cough button, okay? That's professional. I do my best not to go to the black screen and not be on camera because I feel like that, hey, our viewers don't deserve that. And I don't go on black screen because I'm doing the show pantless and have to get up. No. I'm doing the black screen thing because I've tried to hide the world's worst kept secret, and that's the ongoing war that I'm having and waging with my liver. I don't want the viewers to see me pouring brown liquor and drinking it, but you know what? That ship has sailed. All right. 2-2. Here's the springboard. Let's go to Pittsburgh and let's line it up and let's get it. You heard me?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And as we land on the show, I do want to do real quick, just do our Lucky Whitehead Award, and then we will peace out. So you know what time it is. It's time for the Lucky Whitehead Award. D Brown, who you got for your week 4?
I got a beautiful one this time, bro.
What you got?
I got one. I was waiting on this segment, actually. I was waiting on this. I said, man, I hope I go first. And I
need the show prep.
Yeah, I was ready. Man,
unlike some of us.
Right. Yeah, my Lucky Whitehead goes to a cat who's like, my fandom of him is grown by leaps and bounds. I think whatever success they're gonna have going forward, he's gonna be a big part of it. That would be Hunter Lepke.
Ooh, my man.
Yeah. He played some all. Yes, he did.
Y'all like that one, huh? Y'all like that one, huh?
That was good.
Hunter,
he wouldn't clear waivers.
Absolutely not. More Hunter Lepke, please.
Yes.
More Hunter, the big Swiss Army knife. Man, we need 4th and 1. Go get it. We need something out the backfield. Go get it. Blitz pickup. Go get it. Matter of fact, run a nice little wheel or wagger route at 245, 50 pounds. Go get it. Hunter Lepke. We don't win the game without Dak finding Hunter Lepke. That's
hell yes.
Great value, Mike Allstott. Great value, Mike Allstott.
Right.
There you go.
Right. Hunter Lepke, baby.
Hunter Lepke. That's my
40 ounce. My man.
That's a great 40 ounce.
My man.
40 ounce. I love
40
it.
ounce, baby.
All right, JC, who you got?
800, boy. Yeah.
All right, who you got, JC, for your Lucky Whitehead Award winner for week 4?
Okay, now, so the parameters are someone who's incredibly fortunate. Is that correct?
Just an unsung hero. Just, somebody.
Hero. Yeah.
Okay. Well, Lemke's a baller. And I always, and again, Jesus, JC, pay attention to the show. Know the parameters of the Lucky Whitehead Award. It's been going on for 3 years.
You good, man.
Jesus, man. You got guys doing show prep, looking good. I stagger in, hungover. What are we doing? What are we talking about? Okay, so it's for someone who's has benefited from fortuitous circumstances. Is that it? Is that fair to
More or less.
Okay, so mine is a little bit more of a negative, like you got away with one.
Okay.
My man Malik Hooker, who's been solid.
Okay.
Getting caught in that jet stream, right? And again, if dude takes off and runs, that's a touchdown. So, like Brock Lesnar said about your boy Frank Mir, he must have a horseshoe up his ass, right? Because that should have been 6 and possibly the game. And I like Malik Hooker. I don't want it to be negative, but again, don't get caught watching the paint dry, dog. You heard me? It's so that's my, and I promise, fellas, I will work to understand more of what the show is doing, and it's not just all of my porn and Jew blasts that I'm firing off. Okay, I'll try to bring
all of the
more to the table next time with these fine, distinguished gentlemen. Okay, that have allowed me, despite my criminal background, to come on the show and thrive and at least stay out of trouble for this hour and a half every week. And the police know my whereabouts too. It's all documented.
JC, boy, you one of a kind, man.
I love it.
I mean, you got all the quotables, man. Like shit, everybody was
God.
buying last week with your I don't even want to say it, but he was
that one. Yeah, that one.
We managed to mix in some X's and O's, mouse blasts. Okay.
But, no. So
all right.
So listen, my Lucky Whitehead Award winner, and I'm gonna go off script on this one. I'm gonna talk about my guy Travis Hunter, baby.
Okay. There we go.
Only football went around that young man yesterday. I don't know if y'all saw him, man. He had like 7 catches for 96 yards.
He good.
He good.
That boy had an interception where he read the route. He gave way. He read the route, jumped the route, dived interception to basically close the game out against a team in University of Central Florida that was 2 touchdown favorite.
Yes, they were. Yes, they were.
And I'm kind of manifesting.
Is it universal that if the Cowboys end up going south and like all the quarterbacks go, you know what I'm saying? You know, Ewers and your man Beck and all these other cats go, you know, and hey, Milroe's climbing up that list too. But like all these other cats go and you're picking, you know, all the quarterbacks go and then you're next in line. Is it pretty much universally agreed amongst the members of the panel that you take Hunter?
You literally read my mind, and I'm kind of manifesting with that one. So I would love to see him fall. I low key want a controversy where he slipped down the board or something. That kid is something else, man.
He is.
Watching.
I think it's a lock. I think you take him, and we'll figure out what to do with him when he gets here. I'm not talking about going both ways, but I tell you what, think about it now. If he was like on your team, right, and you lose Bland, right, then what happens? Well, looks like he's working at corner this week, and you're feeling pretty good about it. I think he's a slightly better receiver than he is a corner, but hey, like I said, just get the motherfucker here and get him in a Cowboys uniform. I'll figure out what to do with him. Hey, man, for real. I'm not tripping. I don't need no extra time. Let me just get him first, and then we'll say, okay. Then we'll figure, like, it would be nice to have him fill in at corner, you know, then move back to kind of a utility role, you know, when you get Bland back. I mean, that would be really nice. You know what I'm saying? To have. That'd be a great luxury to have. And you can't foretell the perspective, you know, or you know, expect injuries to happen, but you just know that they will. And I think after the quarterbacks, I honestly think, you know, without an outstanding defensive lineman prospect amongst that group, I think after the quarterbacks, I think he's the number 1 prospect.
I'd say I've been watching him play for 3 years. Started, and there's a reason why.
I didn't mean to leave out Shador. Shador's in the quarterback class too.
Yeah,
I didn't mean to do that. Shador's in that class too. He's in that class too, definitely.
So I've been watching this kid since Jackson State, and I saw when they were saying that, well, he's good, but he ain't playing nobody. Going back to the Cowboy thing, I was like, if you can't see that dude is one of the best guys in the country, I don't care if he's playing for HBCU or not, you're just being biased.
Well, he opted to go there because he was on every D1 program's list. Like that was the coup of Prime's tenure.
Georgia, Florida State, Jackson State. Those were his 3.
Right. I'm like, come on. I mean, he was D1 A+ recruit. Yeah. I mean, come on. Yeah.
He's taking 130 snaps a game, like 130 snaps a game. And did he? I'm guessing I know Shador clowned, but I'm guessing he clowned too.
That's what I'm saying.
In the game against UCF. They were double-digit underdogs against UCF.
Yeah,
smoked them. Smoked them.
Can you imagine him in year one playing that slot role that CD played when he first got in?
Man, come on now.
When Amari was still here, so you got him with CD, and then he's playing. Like Travis Hunter's playing the slot, and you got CD outside.
That was the receiver's name, Braylon Edwards. My bad.
Braylon
Edwards.
Yeah.
Put it out high and then vanished.
How could I forget?
Yes, indeed.
How could I forget Braylon Edwards?
Yes, sir.
I mean, but like Travis to me is an extremely elite player. And listen, no disrespect to Bland. If I got a chance to get Travis, I'm saying love Bland. And respectfully so. I know that he's a polished professional, better corner as it stands. I just think his trajectory is that high. And I'm saying that because I've seen it for 3 years. And so
I would move him to the slot where he started. And
well, I'm just saying eventually he gonna be your CB1 eventually.
I mean, the third corner, excuse me. Third corner.
Right. Just to start him off, yes. But I'm just saying
the slot corner.
Yeah.
Like Jordan Lewis, in other words, Jordan Lewis, yeah. Deron Bland, right back there where he started, where he really started to come on. And now you got Hunter and Diggs on the outside. Son.
So the reason why I said Fug,
pretty shape there.
I'm saying if somebody said to move up, we got to get rid of Bland for Travis Hunter, I'm like, sign me up. Popular opinion. I'm talking about how he's gonna play out in 5 years. That dude's gonna be unreal in 5 years. Watch.
I don't doubt that. How could you? I mean, there's just certain guys. NFL is different, but there's just certain guys we've seen over the years. Look, his head coach, notwithstanding, like you just knew that it was going to translate, right? Correct. I mean, you kind of knew Zeke was going to be a really good NFL back.
Correct.
You knew that, who we talking about? You knew Burrow was going to be, a really good NFL quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
Whoever you want to name.
CeeDee Lamb would translate. You knew CeeDee Lamb was translate.
You knew CeeDee Lamb was going to. Wait a minute. If you were like me, you almost fainted that CeeDee Lamb fell to 17. Like, wait a minute, he's still on the board? Right. Like, even the Cowboys didn't plan on it. They're like, wait a minute. He actually fell to us? Yeah. Scrap all that shit we talking about. At the 17th pick. Let's get him. And how that worked out.
Hunter is neither fish nor fowl. He's fucking steak.
Yeah. Right?
He's neither fish nor fowl. He's steak.
JC, let me add that.
A, baby.
Let me add it.
I'll figure out to do with him. Believe me, I'll figure out what to do with him. Believe me.
Yeah. Wagyu steak. Wagyu.
Wagyu, yeah.
Wagyu.
A Japanese joint.
Yes, sir.
Oh, yeah. So,
yeah.
So, all right, man. Good show, y'all, man. I had to get the Travis Hunter thing in there, man, because
I love it.
I love the fact that he got so much hate the first year, and not by hate, people saying he's not good, but just dismissing his prowess.
I mean, HBCU, no doubt.
With his first,
that he opted to go to.
Yeah, it's his choice to go there.
It was his choice. Yeah,
it is. His
first game he played against Florida A&M, and he took away a whole side of the field, and you could watch it and you could see it. This dude was special, and all people saying is Florida A&M ain't nobody. That same school who sent 3 dudes to the NFL since that game. Just saying, Isaiah Land, my man who just returned a kick for the Rams last week, had a big return kick for them to win against the 49ers. And there's another linebacker, I forget his name, but that team had 3 NFL players on it. Well, that program, vertical, and also one of the assistant coaches, KJ Black, he's an assistant coach for the Atlanta Falcons now. So that program had a lot of NFL and high level. Oh, also the coach, Willie Simmons, he has moved up to the University of Duke. I think he's a running backs coach for Duke now. So what I'm saying is that had a lot of talent over there on that side of the field.
Absolutely.
Travis balled the hell out and had the quarterback scared to even throw his direction. I think Musa was the quarterback at the time. So all I'm saying is I've seen the progression. I've seen him. He's been consistent of who he is. And now that I see where he's at now, we're like, damn near unguardable. You're getting like 6 to 8, 9 receptions a game. I think he had 5 100-yard completions games in a row. He had 96 yesterday, which broke the streak. And then on the defensive side, wreaking havoc. Last week when they beat Baylor, he had the game-saving forced fumble to win the game. That dude different.
Plays.
Yeah.
Making plays.
Did
Real quick.
Did we have to guess with Barry Sanders? Did we have to guess with Deion Sanders? You know, did we have to guess with, you know, Calvin Johnson? I mean, did we have to guess with Randy Moss? Nah. He is of that ilk. Like,
Yes,
like barring injury, Hall of Fame projection, even before he stepped on the NFL field. Like Charles Woodson. I mean, did we have to guess? No.
Correct.
I mean, he's that good.
Hey, on the college tip, I want y'all to watch this kid. It blows my mind. McMillan, the receiver from Arizona. I swear to God, watch him play.
Okay.
It's like he's 6'5" CD Lamb. He plays just like CD. Like seriously.
6'5"?
Like he's 6'5", and he's as fast as CD. Okay. And again, 40 times he's a 4-5 guy, CD's a 4-5 guy. That's plenty fast. Yeah. It's what you do with it. Okay. 40 times overrated. This kid, every time I watch him, it's like looking at 6'5" CD. He plays just like him.
Let me shout out a guy real quick also that my man Brandon Huber brought up in the jargon. Ashton Genty from Frisco Lone Star High School. That's the kid that said Boise State running back. Dog, 4 games, 845 yards. He's averaging 10 yards a tote, 13 touchdowns, 4 games. 5'9", 215. I knew who he was because my nephew goes to high school in Frisco. They murdered him. I think he went for damn near 3 bills against them. But, bro, 5'9", 215, Ashton Genty, Boise State running back.
All right.
Running back.
Hey, we might need to add this segment to the show, man.
He hogged out last night.
It's an evolving thing.
They showed him hogging out last night, the Boise State kid. He was hogging out last night.
He went for two and some change and 4 touchdowns last night.
Hey, we may have just created a new segment, man.
It's an ever-evolving thing.
The
knowledge is real. The knowledge is real.
Yes, sir. Well, all right, y'all, man. So great show, man. We'll do better next week, we promise. Shout out to the haters, the lovers, the casuals. You know what I'm saying? Hey, man, get that crease together. Get that Caesar. Get those
affiliate pack.
Go and upgrade to the 15 jersey, man, so you can be up to par in the standards. Thank y'all for the likes. We have 23 active views between Twitter and YouTube. So listen, man, the best Cowboy podcast. Tell a friend and tell a friend. Any other parting words, gentlemen?
Coaching matters.
Okay.
Man up. Go Cowboys.
JC, take us on.
Hey, the theater on my liver continues. All right, as we're now moving troops to the border. All right, with this last shot of brown liquor here that I'm gonna put away. Thank God I ain't got shit to do today but watch TV.
There you go.
All right, no driving or anything strenuous for me. But hey, it is what it always is. America's team, bitch. Go Cowboys.
And with that, we out.
Good job.